Hi, would you like to learn the 5 secrets to overcome contempt in relationships and also healing contempt in relationships? Hi, I'm Antje Boyd, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man method. And look, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to click that bell right below so you get notified for many more juicy videos coming your way that help you to attract that right man for you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, contempt can look like many different ways. It can look like disrespect, mocking, sarcasm, hostile humor, right? And many other, like more really attacking ways towards the other person. In general, it has a very, very negative, like emotional environment almost, I will say, that it really causes and that it really, really nurtures, and not in a good way, in a relationship. So I'll help you to have 5 secrets to break right through that. So let's go ahead. Secret number 1, embrace your shadow side. So what we so often do is, if we're suppressing our shadow, we are then projecting that onto, guess what? The other person. That's right. And so what that happens is, right, like you get like angry at them, you're always in a good mood, and in bad mood, I mean, you're always annoyed, right? And in general, there's always like this sort of like negative, destructive, hostile energy inside of yourself because you don't like that part inside of yourself, right? You don't like to feel helpless, or you don't like to feel mean, or you don't like to feel like whatever the shadow is inside of yourself that you have, right? Like sometimes it can be like this resistance to being in control, or it can be actually wanting to be in control. So the resistance to being out of control, right? It can also be the shadow. It can be a destructive shadow. Embracing that inside of yourself, right? Actually expressing it fully versus kind of trickling it out in like little poisonous drops here and there that, of course, long term will kill the relationship. So shadows in and of itself is everything that we judge inside of ourselves. So sometimes we're judging being selfish, being arrogant, being, you fill in the blank, which of course is somebody else's gift. Somebody else was like really happy that he has those attributes or she has those attributes inside of herself. But if you judge that inside of yourself, if you're like, I would never be selfish like that, right? Then you start to build contempt towards anyone who actually expresses what you judge inside of yourself. It's a really interesting psychology. Stay with me because you can change that. Which perfectly leads me to secret number 2, which is forgive yourself. Look, we are so hard on ourselves. We expect ourselves perfect. We have unrealistic expectations, not only of ourselves, but also of the other person, right? We expect them to remember all of our favorite holidays and what our favorite color is and what our favorite love language is and whatever. And as soon as they make just like one mistake, they get like that sarcastic hit. And why is that? Well, because we also expect that about ourselves. So of course, we're beating ourselves up 10 times harder, which then of course is then the invitation to forgive yourself, right? So there's many beautiful practices. Ho'oponopono is one of them. It's a Hawaiian forgiveness prayer, right? So it's one thing that you can do. You can also simply say, I forgive myself for judging myself for fill in the blank, for being selfish, for being arrogant, for being mindless, for being stupid, for being whatever the case may be for you. But forgive yourself, because then it's going to be much easier to actually soften your heart. And so you can be much more compassionate with the other person and then remove this sort of harsh layer from your heart. Secret number 3, change your state, girlfriend. Okay, so sometimes you can just wake up in the morning and you're just naturally in this like pessimistic, negative, like nothing can happen for me kind of state, right? And like what I would say is like, really, if you notice that this is actually a pattern for you and you're constantly in this kind of like more negative and pessimistic state, right? Then just really do something different to change your state, right? To clap your hands, to jump up and down, to do some qigong, to listen to some music you normally don't listen to, happy music, right? Like bring a different color into your environment, right? Like maybe you have a couple of art pieces that make you happy, that remind you of your childhood if you had a childhood that you want to remember. If not, find a memory that you want to remember. Maybe you had a favorite vacation with your girlfriends that you really enjoyed, right? Or maybe you had an incredible encounter with a particular person and it just left this imprint on your soul, and see how you can bring that into your environment so you can actually start to feel different states inside of yourself, like happy, joyful, ecstatic, curious, surprised, right? Like different energies versus just like, well, yeah, it's all the same and whatever, don't be too happy. Okay, that's not gonna last long, right? Like, and constantly walking around with this sarcasm, which of course also originates from that lack of emotional availability inside of yourself, right? Like if you're like, I'm not really like that connected to my emotions. I'm not really that vulnerable, right? Like I'm making sure that not everyone is going to take advantage of me, which of course oftentimes comes from abuse in the childhood, physical abuse, or emotional abuse as well. So change your state. Secret number 4, express your emotions fully. So what happens so often, I just talked about this, we have a pleasure ceiling or we have a pain ceiling. So sometimes we grow up in those environments where it was just not safe to express all of our emotions congruently and consistently, because maybe for beginners, our parents never did that, right? Maybe they greeted our joy with sarcasm and with mocking and really, you're that happy again? Really? Right? And that was constantly this destructive and this hostile environment in your home. So you learn to actually dim your light, to express your emotions to just a certain level and then left it at that, right? But the invitation here is actually express it and break through the ceiling, right? So maybe you were just expressing your emotions at a level 5 or a level 3, right? And I invite you to just really express it at a level 10 and be super happy, or to be super angry, right? Move that energy through, or just like really tap into that deep, sad space, right? And feel that grief that your body holds, right? And just allow yourself to really go there, and move that emotion, acknowledge that emotion fully. By the way, without going into stories of the past and also without any pictures. We don't want to continue to just feed a story around the emotion. We simply want to acknowledge the emotion itself, because once the emotion moves completely through, it actually transforms into a new emotion, and that need for being hostile, for showing contempt, right? For any destructive behaviors towards another person and mocking them and being mean will actually dissipate, because we will actually arrive at our emotional still point as well. And lastly, secret number 5, watch your shame shields. Now in secret 1, we talked about shadows. So what happens is when we express those shadows, there's 3 different ways, and this comes directly from Brené Brown, which we of course all know, the power of vulnerability, right? The shame researcher. And there's 3 ways in which we deal then with that shadow, right? Because we have then shame come up when that shadow is being expressed. For example, if you're afraid to be arrogant, right? And somebody says, Joe, you are so arrogant, right? Then now what happens next is a shame comes up inside of your body, right? You start to feel warm and uncomfortable and like you just want to disappear in the bottom of the earth. You're experiencing shame. And now you have a choice. Now, what do you do with that shame, right? So you have 3 choices. So either you can go all in and you can say, oh, yes, Mary, you're so right. I shouldn't be that arrogant. And you can go totally into justification mode, which, by the way, that's such a magnet for a narcissist, right? So if that's how you deal with shame, oftentimes that's definitely an invitation for a narcissist to come in and guilt trip you as well and gaslight you. So this is shame sheet number 1. Shame sheet number 2 is ignoring it. Oh, no, I didn't, nothing happened. You know what I mean? No, I was just kidding, right? So this is also the typical backtracking, right? Imagine you said something important and then it was met with like demeanor, and just like disapproval, right? And then you're like, oh, just kidding. You know what I mean? I didn't mean it that way, right? Of course I didn't. So again, like backing off, so denying it, right? Like it didn't even happen. Or the third one, and this applies here in a contempt, is the attack, right? And so that's the third shame shield. But actually, when you understand that that's about your shame. So it's nothing to do with the other person, but it's about you learning how to artfully navigate your shame. So how that would look like is like, okay, you're feeling some shame, right? And you're being with it. You're not denying it. You're not attacking it, right? You're also not leaning into it and justifying it. You're simply being with it. That means you're not doing anything with it. And when somebody says something, yes, you of course acknowledge that, but you're not leaning into it, you're not justifying it. So very, very different. So what's your shame shields here? Because the shame shield, they lead actually to that contempt, which is really, really interesting, right? If you have this fear of feeling like powerless, right, or shameful, then the minute we feel that, we make somebody else feel shameful or powerless, right? A lot of people get off when other people feel bad about themselves, because then that way that basically the person who expresses the contempt doesn't have to feel that shame inside of themselves. Okay. All right. So those are the 5 secrets how to really navigate contempt and overcome that and heal that. And now I would love to hear from you. The question of the day is, which of those secrets helped you the most, and when did you experience contempt in your relationships? If you want to learn more about how to attract that right man for you that helps you to feel cherished, supported, and taken care of, and you can be completely honest and authentic with, I invite you to take my Magnetize Your Man quiz at magnetizeyourman.com, or click that link right below this video. And this is it for today, ladies. Much love, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah!